Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your January 2019. Sorry, I had to turn my phone off there. Your 2019 January general reading. Thanks for joining us here today. As always, welcome to anyone who may be new. I hope everyone had a blessed and safe holiday season. Christmas and New Year's. Thank you always for your likes, shares, subscribes, your support, feedback, and comments. Thanks to those of you who sent me holiday well wishes. If anyone is interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me, and by the way, thank you to all of my clients. I always try and remember you guys, both regular and new, for always keeping me so busy. If any of you are interested in a personal reading with me, you can click on the little About button you'll find on my YouTube channel's homepage for more info and contact details, or you can click on the description bar of any of the videos I post, or you can just email me directly at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com and be delighted to work with you. I can usually get back to you within the same day or the first 24 hours of your initial contact with more info. And scheduling the readings are pretty timely too. I do readings full-time, 5 to 6 days a week. It is what I do. And I work pretty diligently with people's schedules to get them their reading as quickly as possible. So if you're interested, send me an email. We'll go from there. You can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo under Irish Gypsy, and that link is also provided. That's good for quick answers to the quick questions, quick, easy questions. If it's a more complex situation, the conventional readings are probably best, but something else for you to consider. All right, let's move right into this reading. This is for the water sign of Cancer, our crabs, our Cancerians, for the month of January 2019. First reading of the brand new year for Cancers. Let's see what's in store for you overall for January 2019. Remember that general readings resonate a little differently always for everybody watching because there's so many watching. So check your rising and moon sign. All right, Cancer. We begin with the Ten of Pentacles, followed by Seven of Pentacles. Cards are having trouble coming apart. We have the Seven of Cups, followed by the Ace of Cups. We have the Page of Wands, followed by the Five of Pentacles. We have the Queen of Pentacles. Your cards, Cancer. They're not sticky for some reason, they're just sticking together. Followed by Strength. And from the bottom of the deck, your overall energy and guidance is the Knight of Wands. Let's take a look here. Cancer, I feel like you're wanting to move to the next level of stability and security and commitment or responsibility in a situation, but it involves another person and they may not be completely on board at this time. And I feel like you want this thing to, I feel like you want this thing to move forward and to move forward quickly. And I feel like you want the decision, whether it's going to be one thing or another, to kind of move forward very quickly. And I think a lot's going to be happening this month in terms of movement and what you want to move forward to, because your overall energy is the Knight of Wands, the fastest of all four of the knights, because he's fueled by the element of fire. Very fast moving situations. It could be you know, a lot of things kind of happening within the month of January, or it may feel like things or a particular situation is moving quite quickly. Some of you may be moving quite quickly yourself, and it could be travel too. I feel like some of you may be traveling in the month of January. Some of you may be traveling back from somewhere. It could have been that you went somewhere for the holiday season or to be with someone for the holiday season, because I definitely feel like there's movement or travel for some of you, maybe around the middle of the month or so. But there's this situation, and you're taking a look at what stability and security you have in a particular situation or relationship in your life here with the Ten of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles. Now, for some of you, it might be a relationship issue, maybe in the romantic area. For some of you, it might be a job or career path, because the Ten of Pentacles represents, it used to be called the inheritance card, which means, you know, a present sense of abundance, security, stability, safety that comes from the long, slow accumulation of what went into it to build up. For example, when this used to be called the inheritance card way back, you know, what does inheritance mean? It means something that comes to you, money, property, a business, you know, something of that sort. But the reason it's there, which gives you this sense of abundance or security or safety, stability, solidity, continuity, it comes from all the efforts and work of time, history, patience, work, you know, efforts of the people that built it up so that you now have this sense of stability. So it's about, you know, stability, security. It tends to represent cycles ending to or culmination. This can sometimes represent a long-term marriage and relationships. It can represent, you know, something with stability because of the time and effort you've put into it. It can represent, you know, a long-term career path or retirement. And the end of that, a really nice retirement that's based on, again, the effort and work that went into building it up. The same in a spiritual path or even general health and well-being. And it's clarified by the Seven of Pentacles. So this is a card of, you know, reflection, assessment, motives. It's a card that represents, you know, taking stock of what you have, looking at the harvest you have, thinking about the effort that you put into it. Should you continue investing in it? The harvest isn't complete here. You want it to be complete because here's the completion here. But clarifying it is the Seven of Pentacles. So we're not at a full harvest here. It's all right. It's nice because it's at a 7. But perhaps you're wondering, should I continue to put more effort into it? If I do, does it realistically have is the reality, can I get to this in this situation? Should I continue investing in it? Should I make changes, or should I harvest what I can and then go off and look for something different to invest in? So again, this could be an actual investment, money, finance situation, or maybe a family, home, business, or property situation. Should you take what you have now or take what's being offered and leave, or continue with it? This could be you know, a long-term. I'm getting so much relationship energy for a lot of the signs, but for some of you, this is going to be flat out job, work, career, or something to do with family, or perhaps an inheritance of some kind. Others of you, it's going to be relationship, but you're taking a look at what you want versus what you have, and if it's possible and realistic for you to get to, you know, this Ten of Pentacles energy. Now, next to that, we have the Seven of Cups, clarified and followed by the Ace of Cups. The Seven of Cups is a card about looking at multiple options. There is kind of an illusionary, sort of dreamy feel about this card. It can sometimes represent not being entirely realistic about what's possible or not, which is a very different energy than the Ten of Pentacles that it sits next to. Each one of these cups is filled with something beautiful and perfect, and what it really means, each cup is filled with the potential of something, the promise of something, but they're not all going to be real and achievable. And this can be about maybe daydreaming, fantasizing, considering you know, a bunch of options, but maybe not being quite so realistic or grounded about what is potentially possible here. So it could be that you're in this situation, a job, a career path, a relationship. You've put a lot of work and effort into it. Feels like maybe a lot of you are stuck at like the 7. You want to get to a 10, but you're not the only person in this, whether it's a job or whether it's, you know, a more personal relationship. And it feels like you're considering what the potential of it could be, but again, in situations that involve people other than ourselves, the other person has to be on board, otherwise it doesn't work. And the reason I say that in terms of relationship, because what clarifies it is the Ace of Cups. Aces represent the number 1, so they always represent the start of something new, a new beginning, a new path, or the opportunity for that. Sometimes this can represent new love and romance, an emotional reawakening in an already existing situation or relationship, the heart beginning to open up again. And I feel like Cancer, there's a situation that you've put a lot of work into, and you want it to, you know, to go towards this Ten of Pentacles, but I feel like it's stuck with where it's at, and you're in the position where you think about, maybe daydream or fantasize about what the potential of it could be if it continues, if you move into the next level of something within this situation or this relationship. And there feels like there's the opportunity to do so, but you may not be looking at it realistically enough. I'm just curious. I'm going to pull a clarifying card or two for this. So I pulled the Seven of Wands, which is defending that which you have a lot invested in, which we know here, invested in this relationship, this job, this situation. But sometimes it can represent defending or holding on to something simply because of the amount of time we have put into it, not because it necessarily has the opportunity to continue to grow. And clarifying that is the Eight of Cups, which is a card of leaving behind something which ultimately isn't entirely what you want, even though there's been a lot of positive aspects to it. For example, for those of you for whom this may resonate as a relationship reading, it's like you're in a relationship and the relationship has gotten to the point where you feel like it's time to move to the next step. There's no other place for it to go but forward, or kind of, you know, maybe part ways. And there's been a lot of good in this relationship. It feels like it's stuck for whatever reason. It could be some issues that you've had. It feels like, you know, perhaps you or your partner wants to move forward, but somebody is reticent about that, and you may be kind of fantasizing about the, you know, what the potential of this is to grow. But next to that, we have the Page of Wands and the Five of Pentacles. And I feel like this is another person in the situation, and it could be also connected to the Knight of Wands. In that case, for those of you who are involved with a fire sign, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or you know, it's one of their signs, or they're manifesting like that, I feel like they still have some maturing or some growing up to do, or some for example, in relationships, they may want to hold on to, you know, an open door, or, you know, the idea that if this doesn't work out, there's other options, which technically there are, but it feels like they're not wanting to be on board for progressing in this thing because they're still kind of holding on to this Page Knight energy, when in actuality, the reality of them is that they're a king and they need to act like a king or a queen. If this makes sense, it will be to those for whom it makes sense too, if that makes sense. And it makes somebody feel like there's not enough. This is a card of insufficiency and lack, whether it's in money or finance situation. This is a card of not having enough, being on the outs. There's insufficiency and lack. In relationships and emotions, it represents feeling rejected, abandoned, or feeling not good enough, feeling like in the relationship there's not enough. You're still wanting, you're still needing more, because someone is not, I don't feel like they, it's interesting because I felt this a bit for Leo, and I think for maybe Aries, and maybe some of you are involved with this fire sign person here. It feels like they don't want to be alone, and they don't want to be with anybody else if this is relationship. Or the job doesn't want to replace you with somebody else, but for some reason there's this reluctance and reticence to move forward. I feel like maybe they're keeping this in the back of their head, you know, the option to open, or that if they make this next step, then that's it, they're trapped or something, and it leaves you kind of feeling on the outs. Or this could be vice versa. Now, at or towards the end of January 2019, we have the Queen of Pentacles and Strength. So the Queen of Pentacles is somebody who has this stability, this security in money and finances and job. She's very capable, resourceful. This is a card about being stable. For some of you, it might be an earth sign female, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising that's significant in a helpful, I feel, kind of way. Others of you, or it could be female or male. Others of you, this is just the energetic. This is the energy of the Queen of Pentacles. This is a card about feeling secure, feeling stable, feeling on top of your game. And it's clarified by Strength, which is about facing your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, your anxieties, wrestling with your demons. It speaks of needing to have the strength, the courage, the wisdom, the humility, the insight to move forward into what your feelings are, because this is where you want to be. This is what you want to feel like. And needing to move into what you're afraid of, meaning to face those fears and walk through them, because you gain more strength and wisdom and insight from doing that as well. It feels like, and it feels like it's kind of like, whether it's job or work, or career, whether it's relationship, whether it's an actual inheritance issue or something to do with family money, family business, family property, family estate. It feels like somebody is acting like they have options that I feel they don't realistically have. And because of that, somebody else is feeling left out in the cold and maybe waiting. And maybe you have been for some time. And what's kept you there is this kind of sometimes fantasizing about what it could be, what it could grow into. But the reality is that somebody is left wanting in this situation. You're wanting to move to a place of feeling stable and secure, whether that's within your own money, finances, your job, whether it's in your relationship. And you may be staying in a situation and being afraid to leave it simply because of how long you've been at the job. And, you know, maybe being scared of finding another job, how long you've been in this relationship, and maybe being afraid that you'll just be alone forever. But needing to face that fear and make the decision that's best for you towards the stability that you're looking for, regardless of what it means, the temporary consequences of that might be. Which for you, it looks like it's about walking away from something or continuing to invest in something. And being realistic about if you're going to stay in this situation, does it realistically, truthfully, honestly have the potential, the real potential of actually turning out to be this Ten of Pentacles. So you're being asked to consider that and to actually take a look at what you are defending and holding on to, Cancer. You've put a lot of time and effort into this, but is this really what's bringing you happiness and joy and fulfillment? Because if it isn't, you need to examine why you're holding on to it, because what are you really holding on to? If somebody is left feeling, you know, less than, or feeling out in the cold, or feeling like it isn't enough, regardless of what the nature of this situation is. So you're being asked to kind of look at that over the month of January. One of you may be wanting to move quite quickly about this. And I feel like this situation, yeah, I feel like towards the end of, some of you may make the decision, I mean, we live in a free will zone. Some of you may make the decision to leave the situation. I feel like a lot of you just kind of end January in this kind of contemplation mode still. You're just still kind of looking and thinking about it and waiting to see how things play out. But I feel like Spirit is advising you to take a more realistic look at the situation and make a decision about this one way or the other. soon or in the very near future, because it feels like you're stuck, and it feels like any movement from this situation is going to need to come from you, that I don't feel like it's forthcoming from the other side. Your making a decision might prompt them into action, but I don't see that happening within the month of January. So overall, it's a good reading. I feel like Cancer, it's, you know, a more contemplative kind of month. You know, even though we have this kind of Knight of Wands overall, you know, the Knight of Wands can represent fast, you know, aggressive, or you know, fast moving situations with a lot of, you know, perhaps enthusiasm or passion in them, or somebody moving quite quickly. For some of you, I think this is maybe a very small portion of you, you might be meeting somebody new within the month of January, and they may want to move things along very fast. If that's the case, you know, be careful, and be careful that things which usually start off very fast and very intense have a tendency to die out just as fast as well. So just kind of keep that in mind in moving forward. I don't feel like this is a month to make huge significant choices or changes, although again, we live in a free will zone. You certainly can. It's a different path with different lessons. But I feel like for many of you, it's just about really investing and thinking about this, but thinking about it in a realistic way. So Cancer, that pretty much wraps up your January 2019 general reading. I hope that it was helpful to you. Again, if any of you are interested in a personal reading, please just email me directly at maggie1maguire@gmail.com. I'd be most happy to work with you. You can find that information also by clicking on the little About button on my YouTube channel's homepage, or by clicking on the description bar of any of the videos I post. I do love and romance, of course, relationship compatibility readings, reconciliation potential, career, work, and finance, as well as investment readings. And I also do 6 and 12-month overviews, which take a look at what's coming in your life over the next 6 or 12 months in all the main sectors of life, which people order at any time of the year, but they're particularly popular in November, December, January, February, as we end one year and go into a new one. So something to consider. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks, Cancer, for the mid-month readings. Until then, take care. I wish you a beautiful, blessed start to this new year, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.